Yo, what's good? This is Casey for L King Self for Life Wrestling Takes, and you're now watching Casey for L Wrestling Takes Show. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Casey for L King Self for Life Wrestling Takes here to give you my honest take about Forbidden Door 2. What did I think about Forbidden Door 2? I thought Forbidden Door 2 blew the doors off of Forbidden Door 1, yet I still think the show was too long. I would have got rid of, so obviously I told you about Adam Cole's situation, so his match got axed with Tom Lawler. I would have got rid of the fourth pre-show main event match. I would have got rid of that. And then, unfortunately, when I talk about it, I would have got rid of Sting in the match because I think that's just a Dynamite match. You just throw that on Dynamite and call that a day. So now that's about 3 matches that's gone. Adam Cole match, the main event on the pre-show, and then Sting in the match. That way you got 11 matches. I'm keeping the rest of the matches on the show, and I'm keeping the 3 because I'm going to talk about it. I'm keeping 3 on the pre-show, and then I'm doing my 8 on the main card. I think we get done probably around about 10:30. We get around about 10:30. I think it's pretty good. So everybody got time to breathe, cause you know dang well when I talk about it, wasn't nobody following Kenny Omega versus Will Osprey. Nobody was following them. But like I said, man, this was one crazy man show. Tony Khan and them did it again. I don't know what it is about Tony Khan when it comes to these pay-per-views, but him and the cast that work in New Japan Wrestling, they came together and they gave us a classic. Now, like I said, everything on the show, you know, like I said, it is what it is. But like I said, the longer these shows go, you know what I'm saying? It's like, man, everybody was hyped. Like, shout out to Toronto, Canada, out there with the Raptors play. They did a great job, you know. But like I said, cats sitting there for 5 hours or something. It's like, man. But that's what Tony Khan do. He like to try to please everybody that work for him. He like to try to make sure everybody have, I'm like, bro, everybody, you don't need to always have everybody in mama on the show. You just don't. Even when it comes to shows like these, like Forbidden Door. You know what I'm saying? But let's break down this show. All right. So the pre-show matches we kicked off. We had Chucky T, Rocky Romero, Trent Beretta, and El Desperado or something like that. Desperado versus Mogul Embassy. That's Bishop Kong, Brian Cage, Shane Swerve Strickland, and Toa Liona. Thought this was a good opener. 8-man tag team match. The right team went over. You knew dang well. I said Swerve been out here doing work, trying to carry so many cats left and right, and he ain't been winning nothing. I said he got to win something that means something. And the fact that he got an opportunity to win this matchup with the crew, you know what I'm saying? Chucky, I know a lot of people say, man, they turned into an enhancement talent. They have, because they haven't like the last time Chucky T and Trent Beretta was in something meaningful. This is when Santana and Ortiz was still on the show. Because to this day, that matchup, they had that backstage parking lot brawl match. That was one of the best TV matches they ever had. That match was great. And I'm hoping that Santana, whenever he get ready, he come on back, him and Ortiz can figure this thing out. And we get formerly known as LAX, Proud and Powerful, get back together. And maybe they can go on a solid tag team run and eventually win them tag team titles. Because I'm going to tell you this. Because I still got Jay White and Juice Robinson winning the tag team titles. After they win the tag team titles, I would set up Ortiz and Santana to take them out. That's what I would do. But that's only if Santana want to come back. You know what I mean? Yeah, like I said, good match. Then we got this matchup. Then we got Athena versus Billy Starks. Now, this was the women's side of things when it's concerning the Owen Hart Foundation tournament. This was a showcase for the young lady, Billy Starks. The kid is good. She's only 18 years old. Now, all of this was Athena had to do was just sell for her. That's basically what she did. Athena sold her tail off. Man, it's unfortunate that Athena is stuck on an app that don't nobody look at. I don't even waste my time worrying about it. I don't. And Athena been killing it from what I'm told. Athena has been doing her thing. And I'm like, man, it's sad that she's in an app where don't nobody watch. And that's unfortunate. But Athena should be on AEW television because the girl she's doing work. And sure enough, she let Billy get a couple of licks in. But after a while, Athena said, no, I'm about to take this woman out. She did. She moves on to the second round. So now we're going to get her versus Willow Nightingale. Well, once again, it's champion versus champion. These non-title matchup, but it is what it is on that one. So then we get this. Now, I've never seen this cat before. I never seen El Phantasmo before, but I know who Stu Grayson was. And when I seen Stu Grayson, I was like, wait a minute. Stu Grayson turned heel and he aligned himself with the occult cats known as the Righteous. I don't know about that, but I had picked Stu Grayson to win this match when I didn't know he was heel. See, if I would have known that he was, see, that's the deal. I don't watch Ring of Honor. Stu Grayson lost. He lost to El Phantasmo. I thought it was okay match. You know, it was all right. Because I never seen this Phantasmo guy before. You know, it's my first time seeing him. So, but I thought they did a pretty good match. Now, after these three matches, that's it. The pre-show's done. I'm not doing this matchup. Like, as much as I respect cats in the United Empire and the fact that we had TJ Perkins, said when I seen TJP, I'm like, who the heck is TJP? I was like, oh, TJ Perkins. I guess his Impact contract must have came up. They went against the Los Ingobernables de Japan, which is Bushi, Hiromu Takahashi, and Shingo Takagi. I wouldn't have done this match. This is probably the only garbage matchup on the pre-show. I would have cut this match off. I'm sorry. Like I said, I know TK like to have everybody mom on the show, but like I said, to me, it was just there. This is just filler to get us to the main roster. So after that, we move on down to the main page of the main pay-per-view card. We get Hiroshi Tanahashi versus MJF for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. Now, Tanahashi went against Swerve on Collision and he looked like trash. He looked like he needed to just call it a career. This matchup, man, it didn't overstay his welcome. And all you can do is just take your hat off to MJF. Because he does a great job. And he's silly as heck. And the fact that Tanahashi got the crowd to say, now he was saying in his language, but obviously he was trying to say coward. He got the crowd to say coward because he tried to walk off. But then he eventually came back. And the one thing I like, Bryce always gets the match. He always gets the AEW World Heavyweight Championship match. Why? Because Bryce and MJF are going to be together until the very end, until MJF loses that thing. He keeps trying to outsmart Bryce, but Bryce always watches his every move. So what he did was he actually threw Tanahashi into Bryce so Bryce can see him pull the diamond ring out, whack Tanahashi in the head, rolled him up, 1, 2, 3, he retains the championship. And then he said, I'm getting the heck up out of here. So good opener. I thought it was a solid matchup. Here's the deal. This wasn't MJF's best match, but obviously he has to carry Tanahashi. That was the whole thing. He was carrying Tanahashi, but like I said, Tanahashi, he looked better than what he did when he was with Swerve, you know. But like I said, Tanahashi, man, it's time for the ace to call it a career. It really is. You know, listen, he's a legend in New Japan. He's a legend. For the people who love him out there and the people who love him in the States, he's a legend. He always going to be a legend, but it's time to call it a career, man. You know? We get this matchup. We get CM Punk versus Satoshi Kojima. Now, this matchup was the first matchup for the men's side of the Owen Hart Foundation tournament. And this matchup was all about the crowd reaction. And obviously, this was CM Punk's first singles match after being back after the 9 to 10 month injury that he had. I loved everything about this. The crowd, Kojima, for me, for the first time actually seeing Kojima wrestle, Kojima looked great. Him and CM Punk have great chemistry together. They rolled together. There was a spot where he came down to the elbow and hit him in the junk. He apologized. He said, I wasn't trying to hit him there, but it just happens. But CM Punk, he looked great. You know, I mean, this was just 3 matches. He done had 3 matches so far for being back, and he didn't manage to get out and look whole. That's all I want. I just want him to come in, do what he had to do. And listen, this CM Punk is not the CM Punk of 10 plus years ago. This is a completely, older CM Punk who is basically going to ride the wave of how the fans, how the crowd reacts to him. You know what I'm saying? And that's the best part. The boos from Toronto were priceless. I loved it, and he played it up. This fool even was doing Hulk Hogan leg drops and doing all this clown crap. I mean, he was acting a fool, but he played up to it. Obviously, you knew he was going to win. He moves on, and that's that. So I thought this was a good match. So then, right after that, we get the Fatal 4-Way for the AEW International Championship. This was a hard-hitting matchup. Obviously, the story is OC. He has to overcome the odds again because he's going against 3 hard-hitting cats that look like him, that can bang like him, and go in the ring with him. Let me tell you something. OC found a way. Even with all the injuries that he got going on, he still found a way. And here's the deal. He was acting heelish because the 2 of them actually was beating up on. Let me tell you something. DG, man. DG is a clown with that goofy dancing that he be doing. Shibata and Zack Sabre Jr. basically was beating the brakes off of him. OC got knocked out, but then he hopped back in there. And as soon as he got back in there, after they basically beat the brakes off of DG, he just snuck in there, rolled that man up, got to 1, 2, 3. It's a desperation now. OC is desperate to keep on to that AEW International Championship. I told you, I would have put that thing on Swerve a long time ago. But this is Tony Khan. Tony Khan loves OC. He can't go without having an OC match. I knew OC was going to be on the card. But OC wins. I thought the matchup was good. It was pretty solid. Hey, that's that. Moving on. We're moving on to this matchup. Now, I was sitting up here talking about don't sleep on this match. I never seen Sonata wrestle, you know. For me, the whole matchup was about the aftermath because that's all I cared about. I just wanted to see the aftermath. And Jungle Boy was working heel because that's what he had to do, but he couldn't really quite turn heel right away. And Sonata, I'm going to be honest with you, Sonata straight up underestimated Jack Perry because if Jack Perry wanted to, he could have won. But you know he wasn't going to win that thing. And it seems like New Japan fans are actually hating on Jack Perry. They say he garbage as heck. They say Sonata, look here. I'm going to be honest with you, man. Chemistry makes a match. And it feels like instead of them going up to the next gear, they're going to stay on gear 1. They never shifted 2, 3, 4. They never went up. They only stayed on 1, but Sonata wins. As everybody knew, he was going to retain his IWPG World Heavyweight Championship. The storyline was afterwards. So after that, Hook hooked him up out of the ring. He looked distraught. He looked disgusted because he lost again. So as they walked off and they looked at the commentary team, obviously Taz was on commentary, which was great. Looked at them, so I'm thinking like, man, I said, come on, TK, we got to do it. We got to do the heel turn. We had to. It's the only thing that's going, I think, can help elevate Jack Perry to where he needs to be. So as they walking, they turn around, you do one more, lift your hands up, as you know, because that's what Hook was doing. He was lifting up Jungle Boy's hand to make him like people cheer for him. And as soon as he did that, that man clotheslined him like out of nowhere. I loved every moment of it. I said, this was great. It was expected. I'm glad it happened. It's time. Jack Perry has arrived, ladies and gentlemen. Now, TK, your goal right now is to make him feel relevant. Because him coming out to Tarzan, boy, it was cool at first. It was cool. But as time went on, cats would get tired of it. And they said, look, he needs a change of character. He needs, something's got to change. Him turning on Hook was great. And Taz going off on commentary, cussing up a storm. He said this man is in deep S. He has absolutely no idea what he's decided to do. He's in trouble, and I loved it. He was furious. He took his headset off and he left. I say this was perfect. I said Taz needed to be on commentary for this. His boy just got betrayed by the cat who claimed to be his best friend. I loved it. This is perfect to me. I ain't got no problem with it. Like I said, for me, the matchup, it wasn't really even about the match. It was about the aftermath. It was about the aftermath of what was to come, and that's exactly what happened. He turned on Hook. Now, that's the new chapter. That is the next chapter for Jungle Boy, is to deal with Hook and deal with Taz. I like it. We are moving on to this. Now, this matchup, this was a crazy matchup. A lot of people said that before Kenny and Will Osprey got together, a lot of people said that this was their favorite match. I'm going to tell you this. The best thing for me about this was Moxley and Kingston, because that's the storyline right there. The Blackpool Combat Club coming out to Moxley's New Japan theme song. Tony Khan needs to keep that, because Wild Thing is played out, especially what took place at the last pay-per-view. Ain't nobody trying to see that blackface wearing circus clown coming through. Ain't nobody trying to see him. That theme, man, it felt like a sinister theme song. I like, man, they feel like heels with that song, because the way how they was looking. You got Tanahashi looking like he ready to kill somebody. You got the cat, the other New Japan cat. His name is Shota Umino. He looked devastating. Willa Yuta, Moxley, Claudio, they all look like they was ready to kill somebody. Like they going up in the bar and they about to start just causing all kind of heck. I said, man, Tony Khan needs to get that song for them right now, because Wild Thing is terrible. I'm sorry to the Moxley heads that love Wild Thing, but Wild Thing sucks. I can't stand that song. That song is terrible. It's outplayed. Listen, I'm an old school head. I like a lot of old school music, but that song is terrible. Look, I'm using that. Tony Khan, use that theme. Use that New Japan thing. Use it. Because if we go back to Wild Thing or Dynamite, I'm going to say, okay, now. No. But like I said, this whole matchup was about Moxley and Kingston. So after they came out, Young Bucks came out, Heyman came out, then Tomohiro Ishii came out, Kingston, all of them came out, right? Next thing you know, they all start beating the brakes off each other. I mean, they were just tearing each other up. Takeshita looked like the best. Takeshita looked like the best. I'm telling you, he went in there, did what he had to do, and I mean, they ain't knocked Ishii out. He knocked that boy out cold. But at the end of the day, Ishii was the one to get the win for their team. He pinned Yuta. Yuta, as of right now, is a punching bag. We got to work Yuta back up, because Yuta can't keep constantly getting pinned every now and then. I know he went over at Double or Nothing, because he did get an opportunity to pin Kenny Omega. But as of late, he's been the only one that's been getting pinned. We can't do that. We cannot do that. Everybody else in the group looked great. Willa Yuta, on the other hand, he's starting to take a little bit too many losses, too many pins. But I didn't have a problem with it. I thought the match was good. I know why a lot of people thought this was a great match. Like I said, for me, it was all about the story between Kingston and Mox, because obviously, you know, they homeboys. But at the end, when everything was done, after they won, you seen Kingston like, dang. Because he does not want to beef with this guy. He does not. That's the storyline, ladies and gentlemen. That is the story. The story is Kingston not wanting to beef with Mox. But people say, where's the story? That's your story right there. That is the best part of the whole situation. And if I'm Tony Khan, if Kenny Omega and them ain't ready to go, I'm starting off with Kingston and Moxley on Dynamite. I am not doing no garbage matchup. I'm kicking the show off with Kingston and Moxley because that's your biggest storyline right now. Outside of what CM Punk and them is doing over in Collision, this is your biggest storyline on Dynamite. It's Kingston and Moxley. That is it. That's it. So, after them, we get the ladies. We get Toni Storm versus Willow Nightingale for the AEW World Women's Championship. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been trying to tell y'all about Willow Nightingale for a long time. There's so many people that be hating on this girl. They hate on her for everything. They hate on her because of how she look. They hate on her because of her gimmick. They take so many shots, man. Toni Storm and Willow Nightingale got up in there, man, and they just started tearing it up. They started doing work. I mean, man, look, I wasn't really on Willow Nightingale bandwagon right off the jump, but she continued to turn me into a fan. And man, listen, you watched this match, you wanted to see this young lady win, but you knew she wasn't winning. So you had Saraya out there, you had Ruby. Obviously, they was gonna cheat their behinds off because that's exactly what they was gonna try to do. But Willow Nightingale called herself trying to get rid of them, and then referee saw exactly what they was trying to do because they found the doggone spray paint thing. And so they knew that, they was going to try to cheat and use it against Willow so Toni can win, so she can retain the championship. Referee said, no, y'all got to get y'all behinds out of here. So everybody was like, yes. So now it's even. So it's 1-on-1. Willow Nightingale was beating the snot out of Toni. Toni was getting jumped. Like, listen, I've seen Toni get beat up, but Toni was getting beat up. Willow Nightingale was beating her behind. I loved every moment of it. I say that's what I'm talking about. See, people take her gimmick, they take her kindness for weakness. I say don't allow the bubbly personality to fool you. Because the moment that music stops, she finna start beating the brakes off of women. That's Willow Nightingale, man. I'm telling you. She tried, but Toni Storm knew dang well I can't beat this girl without cheating. So sure enough, she thumped her in the eye and found a way to roll her up, and she got the victory. Ladies and gentlemen, I thought the matchup was good. Obviously, Willow Nightingale couldn't win, but it is what it is. Toni gets the victory, and we move on. Now, a lot of people was wondering, like, wasn't Mercedes supposed to be there? Obviously, she was, but she got hurt. So, we don't know when she's coming. But obviously, she's still coming. She's coming. We just don't know when she's coming. So, now we get to, so doing that matchup, they showed Sky Blue and they showed Britt Baker because obviously these two are finna wrestle. No, Sky has already done made it. Britt is going against Ruby Soho. So they showed them because they was talking about these. They was talking about the finals of the AEW Women's Owen Hart Foundation for the women's side. And they showed them, obviously, that it's going to be Ruby and Britt. And then, like I said, Sky, listen, it might just come down to Sky versus Willow Nightingale. Now, if that happens, I don't know what the clown finna happen if that happens. But they look disgusted. They look like, oh man, these three women again. I'm like, so Toni Storm got caught on camera talking about, she called Willow. She said she was a stupid bee, and she said she was a fat cow. Now, I seen people was upset. No, I said, man, she's a heel. She don't listen, y'all. When y'all clowns understand, she don't mean that. Listen, man, y'all. Look here, I could see if she said this in the camp and they wasn't wrestling, but this is wrestling. She's a heel, so obviously she has to, But people took it, they ran with it. I was like, it is what it is on that. But I wasn't tripping about it because I seen people talk about it. I'm like, is she a heel? It is what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, the main event: Kenny Omega versus Will Osprey for the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship. Match of the freaking night. Man, I think they should have main evented because of how good this was. Wasn't nobody going to follow them. Was it nobody going to follow them? I'm serious. Nobody. I don't care how good Okada and Bryan is. Nobody was going to follow them. Nobody. These two, they killed each other, man. They legit tried to kill each other. I mean, you had Kenny out here getting one-winged angel and kicking out at one. You got Will Osprey basically doing what Kenny did to him when they was in New Japan at the Tokyo Dome. He was slamming his head through the doggone announce table and bust him open. So then Kenny Omega did a DDT on the steel steps and bust him over. That man was leaking all over the place. Listen, these cats was clowning. They was tearing each other up. And speaking of clowning, Don the Clown trying to cheat. My referee saw us behind and said, get your tail up out of here. But guess what? He came right back out there. I said, here he is. Cheating. He gave that man a doggone screwdriver, tried to hit him in the head, and he thought that was going to get him. Nah, it didn't work. But the move that did it, he did this, I think it's called a Tiger 91 or something like that. Now, when he slammed him down, he did come down on his neck and his head. He did get up and they kind of helped him, but apparently he did walk to the back. We don't know. We're not sure exactly Kenny's health right now. I'm praying all is well. But these two murdered each other, and Will Osprey walked out as your new IWGP World United States Heavyweight Champion. This match is all over the place. This match was everywhere. It was so good, man, that I said, man, we should have main evented. This really could have main evented. This match could have main evented. I mean, Will Osprey, Kenny Omega, I can't praise these cats enough. They did a phenomenal job. Even with Don the Clown trying to cheat and do all that clown crap he was doing. But it is what it is. Will Osprey, don't pay no attention to that. That was my stuff. My folder stuff just fell out, so don't pay no attention to that. But these cats, they did work. They did work. I loved everything about it. Best match on the freaking show, ladies and gentlemen. Will Osprey is your new champion. Now we get to, in my honest opinion, I thought this was possibly the worst match on the main card. And normally whoever Sting in the ring with, Sting matches always hit. They always hit. Now it's funny how 2 pay-per-views in a row, Jericho messed around and had the worst match on the show. Now it's funny. On Wednesday, I said him and let's see, him, AR Fox, Martin, and Action Andrade versus the Sex Guys and Suzuki had the best match on the show outside of Chris and Taya. Now we come to the pay-per-view, and this matchup, man, you could have saved this for Dynamite. I'm sorry, man. You could have saved this for Dynamite. And I already said that nobody was going to follow Will Ospreay. And that was a terrible spot to be in. Nobody was going to follow Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega. Like, to me, this matchup was kind of like 1, 2, 3, to be honest with you. Because the only reason I was paying attention to this, I just wanted to see Chris Jericho and Sammy, how they was going to function. And Nato, let me tell you something. I said it on Twitter. He came out there looking like a straight up pimp. He looked like the way how he dressed, I thought this was the player from the Himalaya. I thought I was watching that episode of Martin when they had a players ball and everything, and my man, that was all of them had on their little player coats. That's what Nato had on. He looked like a dang pimp. I'm serious. But it ended with Nato pinning Suzuki. I mean, listen, man, listen, this match could have just been saved for Dynamite. I'm sorry. You put this on Dynamite, man, call it, and it had more time to build. Like, you got more time for it to build up, and I think they would have delivered a better match on Dynamite instead of trying to have this rush and throw it on doggone pay-per-view, because you got to have Nato and you got to have Suzuki and you got to have Jericho on the doggone pay-per-view. No, you don't. No, you don't. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I mean when I say sometimes Tony Khan overbooks scrap. He really does. He sometimes overbook. Like I said, I give him praise when he does a great job, but then a lot of times he just be so giddy that I got to have every circus clown in my locker room on the paper. No, you don't. You don't have to have every clown that work for you on the show. You just don't. And I'm like, but it has story. Yeah, it does, but you can say this with Dynamite. Darby, Sting, and Nato win. They beat him. Like I said, nothing memorable. I mean, Sammy and Sting went through a doggone table. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I mean, Chris Jericho, Sammy, and Miro, Suzuki, they posed. They did the little sex pose or whatever, but that was about it, man. Really nothing. So then we get to the main event. Now, I was looking forward to this one. Now, I was thinking that this was going to be the match of the night. Ladies and gentlemen, if I was Tony Khan, what I should have, even Brian said it in the media scrum. He said, he told Tony, I don't want to follow Kenny and them. He told that man, nah, I got to make sure you eat. Now, see, this is why I said, this is why cats, look at, I know my man is he destroys them every chance he gets. But reasons like this is why King Mike gets on Tony Khan's case. Bryan Danielson told you, I do not want a main event. He told the man, I don't. I don't want to follow Kenny. I don't want to follow Will Osprey. And then guess what happened? Not only that, he gets hurt. Fractures his elbow or his forearm or whatever. You could have had that early. You do Sting in them. And then Will Osprey and Kenny Omega close the show. Man, everybody go home happy. I think they wrestled for almost 20 minutes. Bryan came out. For me, the best part of this matchup, outside of everything they was doing in the match, Bryan coming out to Final Countdown by Europe. I said I was hearing rumors about them possibly getting it. They got it. Tony Khan got money. They got money. It's not the fact that they ain't got money. They got money. The fact that they paid whoever they had to pay to get this song. Hey, I loved it. The intro was great. Fans were singing it. Everybody was going nuts. Then Okada with the coin flip came out. So they get the ring. They knuckle up. They do what they do. And it seemed like they was doing work, but obviously because of the injury that happened to Bryan, it just seems like they never left first gear. They only stayed in gear one. That was it. But for me, the shock of the night though was I had Okada winning, even with Bryan getting hurt, because I didn't even know. Like, I should have known, like, when he was doing the yes, but he was only doing one arm. That told me that something must be wrong with his arm. But I'm just thinking that's just him doing that. When he made Okada tap out, I was like, wait a minute, Bryan actually won? He won the match? Listen, I tell y'all all the time, I say Tony Khan's the master of the swerve. I had Okada going in here winning. I was like, Okada got this on lock. He said, no, I'm going to make sure Bryan win, even with the injury. Listen, even on one arm, Bryan still found the way to win. Kudos to them. I thought, like I said, listen, was it a bad match? No, it was not a bad match. But I still would prefer Kenny and Osprey to close the show. I would have just flipped the match. Even Bryan tried to tell Tony Khan, but Tony Khan just wanted to be hard-headed because that's what he liked to do. Apparently, he likes to be hard-headed, but it is what it is. But like I said, Okada loses, Bryan gets the victory, but it tells me that it's nowhere near done. They're gonna run this back. They might, if Bryan is available to come all in, they might do it at all in. I'm serious. If he's available to go at all in, they might do part 2 at all in, and maybe they can probably kick it up a gear, and maybe they can give us the classes that we were supposed to get last night. But outside of that, ladies and gentlemen, I walked away. I thought Forbidden Door 2 was great. I thought it blew the doors off of Forbidden Door 1. Final grade for this show. After reviewing everything I just told you, man, I seen fools say 10 out of 10. No, you going too high. No. Man, if I had to debate with myself on what score I'm going with, because after I watched the show last night, I said I was going with a 9. But now the fact that I had an opportunity to sit on it, I'm going to go with 8 out of 10 or 8.5 out of 10. Like I said, 8. It was 8, 9-ish, but the fact that I had a whole day to sit on it. Because remember, I'm not a biased AEW fan. People call me a shield. No. I thought the pay-per-view was stellar. Obviously, this was definitely better than Double or Nut. Way better than Double or Nut. For me, I gave Double or Nut, I think I gave it a 7 or something like that. This was the 8. Like I said, I was at a 9 at first. But like I said, I had a whole day to sit on my thoughts and sit on everything that I remember by everything I saw. And again, ladies and gentlemen, match placement is the key to a great pay-per-view. Toronto was phenomenal. They did a great job the whole show. And then you don't have to have everybody on the show. If you cut, instead of having 13 matches, if you have 11, you cut Sting in the match off. Then you get that trash match that was at the end of the pre-show. You get rid of those 2 matches. Now you got 11. Maybe I'm giving this show a 9. Maybe. But after I had a whole day to sit on this situation, I'm going with 8 out of 10 for Double or Nothing 2. Great They did a great job. Tony Khan is back at it again. Now it's time to start building up TV as we move forward for All In and All Out. I will talk to y'all cats tomorrow morning. I'm going on a rant because of the trash I seen on Monday Night Raw. I came home and I seen that trash that happened to Melo. I'm going on a rant. That's it. That's the only thing I'm talking about. I ain't talking about nothing else that happened on the show because I didn't watch it. I came in and just saw that trash. I'm going in on it. I'm telling you, man, because that was terrible. That was a terrible decision, but it's no surprise because we know how Vince McMahon get down. It's no surprise because we know how he move. I will talk to y'all cats later. Hit the comment section up. You tell me what you thought about the show. And I'll talk to your cats later. First and foremost, also, too, I want to thank all the new subscribers. 262 strong. That's great. We moving up. We going to keep building this nation out here, man. I appreciate all y'all cats. Thank y'all so much. I'll holler at y'all cats later. Holler at your boy.